Imagine being 25 years old and then finding out you're black. That's just part of Mark Craven's journey, today's guest. He's going to talk about how he learned to become a good father despite not having a great role model in his life growing up.
Men, your journey to becoming a better man starts today. Grab a hold of what matters and make it count. Welcome to the Manlihood ManCast with Josh Hadger.
Gentlemen, welcome to the Manlihood ManCast. I just wanted to encourage you guys. I appreciate you for investing in manlyhood by helping us spread the word, by participating in the discussions on our Instagram, on our TikTok, on our Facebook page, on our Facebook group, the Manlihood Man Cave. You guys are doing great work by getting involved. I just want to share another opportunity that you have if you want to invest in manlyhood. If you have a business or a brand that serves men, you can invest in Season 8 of the Manlihood ManCast for a reasonable price. So we're looking for sponsors for the new season. So if you want to get the word out at an affordable rate, let me know. Get in touch with me, manlihood.com@gmail.com, and we'll set you up. We'll talk about ways that we can find a package that works for any budget. You can sponsor the whole season. You can sponsor a part of the season. You can just sponsor an episode or two if that's all you can afford. Let's find a way to help get your message in front of the right audience. All right, guys? With that being said, guys, let's get into today's episode. Mark Craven is a great guy. He's wrote a great book called Dads Kiss Your Sons. He's not your typical author. He's a dad. And when he found out he was going to be a dad, it was a lot that he had to figure out because he didn't have a great role model growing up. He didn't have a great father in his life. In fact, he didn't even know who his real father was until he was 25. And it's a great conversation. Guys, let's tune in to Mark Craven. Hey, Mark. Great to have you on the show, man. How you doing today?
Great, Josh. Thank you so much. Really excited to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad to have you, man. So, Mark, I know you've got a book out, and it seems like you're working real hard on being a good father. I see that in your social posts and the work that you're doing. So why don't you maybe tell me a little bit about that? Tell me a little bit about your journey through that process.
Yeah, so I was terrified to become a dad. Out of my mind scared. I didn't have a dad growing up. My childhood sucked, to put it briefly. And yeah, so when I found out I was going to be a dad, I was terrified. I was so scared. I didn't think I could do it. And the fear, it really it locked me up, and it put me in a place that was really a place that I'm not proud of now looking back. And it's so impossible for me to even imagine my state of mind at that moment, because now that I am a dad, and I mean, Kai, he's my best friend. He's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. So the love that I got to experience was just so overwhelming. And, that's one of the big messages in my book is I think a lot of the fatherlessness crisis that the world sees is because of that fear. That fear creeps in and says, you can't do this, you never saw it, or you didn't see it the right way, and you're not going to be able to do this, and you need to run, or you need to, do something. So the message is like, if you could just sit through that discomfort long enough, you're going to come out on the other side and experience a love that, I could write 30 books and it wouldn't hope to capture what I've experienced in being a dad and loving Kai. So my journey to fatherhood was certainly not a traditional one. I didn't see like 3 or 4 generations of dads and went on Saturday fishing trips and had a dad teach me how to shave or anything like that. I didn't have any of that stuff. So I was, like I said, just really terrified. And then once my little homie was born, it's, you can't put words to it. The love that I experienced, and now every single day is just doing everything I can to just let him know how much he's loved and cherished and cared for and blessed, you know, because he and I are both so blessed to have each other. So that's sort of my daily mission.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about that for a minute. What was it like? So you find out, okay, Mark, you're gonna be a dad. Like, what happened? Like how did that come about for you?
So yeah, I was, well, again, I like almost crapped myself. I was terrified. And I was dating a girl for a while, me and Erin. We were married, but it didn't work out. We're separated now, unfortunately, but it happens. That's part of life. But she came to me, and she actually called me. I was in class. I was working on my graduate degree and finishing that out, and I was coming home from class, and she called me, and she was hysterical. It's not, you know, I thought someone died or something, and she was just crying and emotional, and you know, she was like, I took a pregnancy test twice, and it says I'm pregnant, and I was actually immediately calm, because I'm always very calm in sort of emergency situations. I was an EMT like 20 years ago, so I'm very calm when other people aren't. So initially I was very like, it's okay, like we'll do what we got to do, we're gonna be fine. You know, we went to dinner and we had a good dinner, and there was like a little baby with their family. You know, I was like, hey, that's gonna be us soon, and I was cool. And then 2 weeks later, the reality kind of hit me of, you're going to be a dad. You didn't see a dad growing up. You didn't have this experience. You don't know what you're doing. And for me, I'm a God person. So to me, that was the enemy coming at me and attacking me pretty hard. And I believed it. I believed it wholeheartedly. And I went to Erin, and I even told her, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't think we should go through with this. She had already had 2 older kids. From a previous marriage, so you know, for her it wasn't it wasn't as foreign, obviously, as it was for me. And you know, I was really like, I don't want you to do this. Now, I wasn't like pressuring or, you know, so controlling to the point of like, you're not gonna have this baby. We're like, that wasn't it. But I was just being honest of how I felt. I was like, how I feel is, I don't want you to go through with this, and if you do, like, I want to talk about adoption. Like, that's where my mind was. And it's, you know, it's embarrassing, and it's not embarrassing. It actually breaks my heart. It like rips my soul a little bit to even admit that, because of how much that little boy means to me and what he's, you know, brought to me in my life. So to know that that's where I was at for a brief time, it's heartbreaking. It makes me want to puke, to be completely honest. But after, you know, sitting with that for a little while, and then we finally revealed to my family and my, you know, my cousins, who I'm really close to. She's more like my mom than my cousin. I mean, she was just like crying, and it was like right at Christmas, and she was just crying and excited, and I was like, oh wait, this is a good thing? You know, I didn't have that. I didn't even entertain the thought that it could be good. It was just like the only thing that was hitting me was, this is bad, I'm in trouble. You know, somehow in my mind, I wasn't a 30, how old was I? I think it was 34, I think. Yeah, I wasn't a 34-year-old, you know, with a career and finishing a master's and in a, you know, a healthy at the time relationship. In my mind, I like retracted to like a 16-year-old that got his girlfriend pregnant or something, you know. And when my mom was excited and crying these tears of joy, that was the first glimpse of like, oh, this can be really cool. This can be a really good thing. And, you know, like I said, that's one of the big messages in the book, is like, that fear is real. I mean, it's a sincere fear, especially, I think especially so for those who have not had a dad growing up, and who haven't experienced that, and who didn't see anything of an example like that, and who did have a shitty childhood. Sorry, I mean, can I swear?
Yeah, I'm not bothered by it. You go right ahead. You be you, man.
Okay, cool. Because, yeah, you know, I drop some stuff sometimes, so I just want to ask first. But that's one of the big things, and like I said, it's especially so for, you know, people who didn't have a dad or just didn't have a good childhood. So when you go to have a kid, you're like reminded of like, wait, childhood sucks. All your trauma comes back, you know, and you're like, I don't want to go back there. But the beautiful thing is you can create, as a dad, you can create the reality that you prayed about when you were a kid. You can show that little one all the love that you wish you would have had just yesterday. Just yesterday, I had this little moment with Kai, because he's 3.5, and he's just all boy. He just wrestles, and I throw him, and we're like nonstop. And it hit me yesterday so powerfully. I was like, man, this is so cool that you have this big dude to just like jump on, and he throws you all over the place. Like, I was thinking that for Kai. I was like, man, that would have been cool if I had that. So you're creating this thing, and this relationship, this reality. You're building this foundation for your child that's like so powerful and so beautiful. And the other amazing thing that happens that you don't realize would happen is you find incredible healing for yourself in naturally, simply loving your child.
Yeah, man. I almost think we're in this kind of cultural moment that enforces that idea that having kids is bad. I don't know why it's that way.
Right. And especially our generation. Like, I feel like, are you a millennial? I'm a millennial.
I'm Gen X. I'm in the tail end of Gen X, but yeah, I get you. Yeah. Especially millennials.
There was like that sect of like, oh, don't have kids. Like, have your career first, and maybe just never have kids. That's why Toys R Us closed down, because millennials weren't having enough kids.
Darn millennials, they ruin everything.
Yeah, we did. We screwed it all up. So I agree with you. Yeah, like the social sort of fabric and the social construct right now is, like, you had kids at what age? And, you did, no way, you can't do that. I mean, that was my mindset for sure.
Well, my wife and I got married in 1998, and we were, we were in our, I don't think I had turned 20 yet. I think I was 19. Maybe I had just turned 20. Mm-hmm. And then we had kids in our 1-year wedding anniversary. We had twins.
Yeah.
And, so we started young, and that was so like the constant barrage of, what are you thinking? And, I didn't understand why anybody would get married young or have kids young. Like, nobody could understand it.
Right.
And now I'm young enough to enjoy my grandkids, man. So it's awesome.
Right, dude. Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. And I'm like, I gotta stay in the gym and like kind of healthy, because I'm 30. What am I? 30. I'm 38. And Kai's only 3, so I started a little late. I want to make sure I'm, ready when I become pa.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, dude. You think being a dad is awesome? Just wait till it's grandkids. Like,
that's what I keep hearing.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah.
That's even better, because you're like, yeah, I had to put up with all the junk of raising your parents, and now like I get to enjoy you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. So.
That's awesome. So, I think that a lot of people today, like I said, I think there's that fear of having kids, or this idea that having kids is a bad thing. What as a dad do you want to do differently than what your dad did for you? Obviously, you said your dad wasn't around, but, did you have any kind of relationship with him at all?
No, nothing. I just didn't have a dad at all. So when I was raised by a single mom. Me and my mom have an okay relationship now. She loves Kai and loves sending him presents, and I send her pictures all the time. But we had a really rough go. I mean, my first memory was watching her cut her wrist with a steak knife. Mm. Like, that was that's my first memory. Like, welcome to the world, Mark. It sucks. Like, that was kind of my introduction to life. And yeah, I never had a dad. My mom never dated anybody that I saw, so there was never a male figure in my life. She didn't have any siblings or, brothers or anything like that, so I didn't have any uncles really to look at. I was essentially raised by my mom, my grandma, and my aunt, my great aunt, my grandma's sister. And Vicky, who I was talking about before, was my great aunt's daughter. So she's like 15 years older than me. So she's always been... She was big sister for a long time, but then when I had Kai, she really became mom, because Kai calls her Nunny and stuff. But yeah, I didn't have a dad, and then I met my dad when I was 22. This is why I wrote a book about this, because it's kind of a crazy story. But I met my dad when I was 22. And I was told my whole life I was Italian. So my mom's Irish and German, very white. Like, if she looks at the sun, she gets sun poisoning, but I'm very tan, and I was told my whole life my dad was Italian, Sicilian, named after him. His name's Mark, and I met him when I was 22, He was a great guy. He gave me a chance to move in with him. He paid for college because I didn't go to school yet. I sang in a heavy metal band after high school, so that's what I was chasing and doing. Working at a pizza shop, working as an ambulance person, an EMT. So I didn't go to school yet, and he offered me, come, you can live here, and I did. I took him up on the offer, went back to school, I moved in with him. He had this like big, beautiful house, and after 3 years, we took and failed a paternity test. Turned out he wasn't my real dad. And then I told Vicky about this, and she said, look up a guy named, actually, I used to not say the name, but I say it now. But she said, look up a guy named Jimmy Jackson. He wrestled in the WWF in the 80s. And your mom was seeing him about the time she got pregnant with you. And I pulled up this video, and it was like looking into a mirror. I mean, it was just no question whatsoever. So it turned out he was my dad, and he was black. So I also found out that I wasn't Italian at 25, but I was actually, my dad's black, my mom's white. And the other part of that, my mom was like super racist when I was growing up. So that was, a little, you have to unpack that. You have to be like, am I racist? I mean, I know I'm not, but it's like,
I'm black and I was raised to not like black people. What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm black, but my mom said black people were bad my whole life. So, like, am I bad? Because, what does that mean? What does it mean to me to now be this person that this other person said was so bad? Thankfully, I was raised, like I said, more by my aunt and my grandma, who were very loving people and accepted everybody. So there were two different schools of thought. And I gravitated more toward the school of thought that was not hate, thankfully. And, so figured that out, then did not a paternity test, an ancestry test, and it connected me to my real uncle, who was the wrestler's brother, and we connected with each other. He was like, you look just like your dad, you sound just like your dad, you have the same smile, all this stuff, but my dad, apparently he's really estranged from the whole family, never wanted to meet me. So I've never met him. The thing that breaks my heart for him is the grandparent thing. Because I'm like, man, you are missing out on this, like, little light, like this little joy. Like, Kai, yeah, he's my son, so obviously I'm very biased in this, but he really is, like, so funny. He's so happy. Everyone that meets him just loves him, so I'm like, man, you're missing out on this, like, amazing little experience that you could have had with this person. So that's the only part of it that really kind of, I guess, upsets me. But to answer your question, I went off track there. You asked me, what will I do different than my dad did? I think just what I'll do different from what my parental unit did, because I didn't have a dad, is, to really work on myself, to really work on my mental health, to make sure my mental health issues don't bleed over to where my child sees them and has to deal with them, because that's not their responsibility. And growing up with a parent that had severe mental health issues, that went unchecked, untreated, unmedicated, but were very much present, that is a hard lift for a kid. So I never ever want Kai to be like, oh yeah, my dad takes antidepressants and I know why. Like, no, he can know that I take antidepressants, and everyone does. I mean, I wear it on my sleeve. I take citalopram every day. I'm a huge proponent of therapy and medicine. One of my good friends actually is John Fetterman, and he's very vocal on his, journey with mental health and things like that. So the biggest thing that I will do different as a parent is to really ensure that I'm taking care of myself, so that doesn't bleed over and he has to deal with that, because that's not fair. That's not parenting,
Yeah, well, and especially when he gets older, it's not going to be bad to have some of those conversations surrounding it, for sure. Like, you don't want him to have to bear the weight of your struggles, but you do want him to see that you're working on it, because someday the day will come when he has to work on whatever issues he may have, because everybody has mental health, whether it's positive or not. Everybody has, just like everybody has a body, right? So someday he'll be faced with some of these things in some way, hopefully not as much as you had to go through, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
then when he sees, oh, my dad conquered this, you know, but yeah, you're right though. He doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be front and center. He just needs to know his dad loves him. So
Exactly. You know, that's you know, that's another, you know, important message in the book too is, you know, it's just it's like an old song, you know, at this point, of men just not expressing themselves, or men, you know, dads being afraid to admit that they need help, that they're feeling, you know, like, okay, you're feeling like you want to kill yourself. Like, you're feeling so overwhelmed with life that you really truly feel that the answer is suicide. That's not okay. The people in your life need you. Your insurance policy does not weigh more than your life. You know, and if that's in your mind, and if you're feeling that hopelessness, like, you got to walk past that societal parameterization that's on you of being a man and being strong and being, no, you need help. You know, if you had diabetes, you would take insulin. If you have the severe depression, you're going to take medicine.
well, actually, I think that actually is strong, right? That is strength to say, okay, I'm going to need some help with this. I think it takes more to do that than it does to just, you know, roll with it, you know?
Yeah, and especially, I mean, yeah, if people could look at it that way, it's like, you are being strong. You just have to realign what you think the definition of strong is, you know? Strong isn't ignoring this and dealing with it on your own. Strong is accepting it, facing it, and dealing with it, you know? I mean, it hits so many people. It's so real. It's, you know? I mean, just to, like, go to my, you know, my friend John Fetterman, I mean, you know, I talked to him. He experienced you know, almost a fatal stroke in the middle of campaigning to the Senate in PA. That's where I live in Pittsburgh, PA. He actually married me and my ex-wife, but you know, he experienced this really bad stroke, and this isn't a political thing. This is just, you know, whatever. He experienced that stroke, and, you know, recovered in the public eye, you know, and then went on. He won the race. He won the Senate race, won the election, and, you know, like, you're at the top, right? Oprah Winfrey is backing you up, is saying, go vote for John, you know, Obama, like, all these, you know, like, you have succeeded, you did it, like, you won, you made it. And he says a lot in these interviews and stuff, and, you know, he's like, well, he even told me, he's just like, you know, depression tells you that you didn't win. So it's like, you won. You did this incredible thing, this big thing. You're making the impact that you sought to make and doing what you want to do. But depression says, no, you didn't. You lost. It's such, you know, it's such a weird thing, but you need help, you know. And I love that he's so vocal with his platform of mental health and, you know, seeking the help that you need. Because it's just not talked about enough.
You know, it's really crazy because
but still not enough.
It's really crazy that you bring up John Fetterman because, you know, I'm from Pennsylvania as well, but I'm a little further north than you in Bradford, PA.
Okay, yeah.
So, you know, you're a little more blue state, I'm a little more red state, right?
Yeah, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. See, I can talk politics and be like, hey, I don't hate you for who you vote for.
Exactly.
You know?
And I think on the ground level, right, I think most people are like us. We can talk about it and we don't hate each other over it. It's
exactly.
You just get the people on the internet the people on the internet are the worst thing. But you know, it's really funny because here lately there's been this shift coming out of, you know, Fetterman's platform on things. Yeah. And you know, all my conservative friends are like, wait, he said what? He said what? Because he's actually siding with things that most conservatives would agree with. And I think that is actually a really good example of whether or not I would vote for him, right? Mm-hmm. I respect that he does what he believes is best for the people of Pennsylvania, right? Like, that's,
right.
You know, whether or not I agree that they are the best things, some of the things we agree with. And I think that most of the time, nobody is all red or all blue. I think I'm mostly red with a few blue spots and some purple here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if we're being honest, like, yeah, like you just said, like, we all are. It's just that that's not what's sensationalized because it's, you know,
because we have to make two parties to make everybody hate each other. That's the easiest way to keep us all at each other's throats, I think, rather than to actually make a difference in the world.
Exactly. And I, like, by no means, like, politics is something I've never really studied. You know, I did not do a lot of political science. My background's biology and science. You know, but when you're friends with somebody that ends up being where John became, you know, you get obviously more interested in it, and you learn more about it, which I did, and I have. And yeah, I mean, I can easily have conversations with people that are pro-Trump and pro-Biden and see the strengths in what they're saying, and they see the strengths in both. Like, you know, like you said, it's like, well, you might be mostly right, but you could definitely see like this very logical thing that everybody should agree on, you know? And, you know, that's how it should be. It's like, yeah. I'm sure you like different foods way more than I like different foods, you know? But why would that be a point of contention? Who gives a shit? But we can both agree that we need food to live, right. You know?
Right. Yeah. So. Yeah, and I tell you, you know, like I said, that's the thing about looking at John Fetterman and seeing, hey, I'm having struggles and I need to work through this. Like, that's huge. Like
I mean, especially in that arena. You know what I mean? Like, especially not being a Republican. I mean, no offense to the Republican Party, like, but dude, that's like, okay, cool, we got something to attack you on big time. You know what I mean? But it's both. It's both. Yeah. Because Blue's going to do the same thing. They're going to be like, okay, now we got something to attack you on. That's what's like crazy. It's just like, can we just be human? And
so I'm a conspiracy theory enthusiast. That doesn't mean I believe them all. I don't believe them all. I think that they're interesting, right?
I do too.
And I say that all the time, and everybody's like, yeah, right, whatever.
You mean like John's clone?
Yeah, my favorite is that he's a clone.
It's true.
It's true.
I can confirm. Did you see the TikTok he did where he did like a double? He was like in the room and saying something, and they pan over, and it's him at the doorway in a different hoodie, and he's like, "Oh, clone John, what are you doing?" Like, shit's hilarious. So, I mean, whether people want to believe it or not, I see me and John, we have the same coffee schedule. That's how we became friends. And then, you know, we have kids, and just in the same place, kids, you know, they kind of, Giselle is like the nicest person on the planet, and she fell in love with Kai. So anybody that loves Kai, I'm like, you're a winner to me, you know? So we just all really been friends for years and stuff like that. So if he does have a clone, like going to DC, I don't know. I don't think that's what's happening. That's not what, you know, when I hang out with him, he's still the same person. So if it's a clone, I'm like, damn, they're doing something right. So they fooled me, and I see him every day, just about.
That's crazy. So the title of your book is Fathers Kiss Your Sons.
Dads Kiss Your Sons. Yeah.
Or Dads Kiss Your Sons. Yeah. What's the story behind that?
So the funny thing is like, I wrote a book. My very first book I wrote was called Choice and Triumph, and it sucks. Don't read it. Everybody's gonna go read that now. As soon as you say that, people. So don't. Oh, here, let me try it. Don't read Dads Kiss Your Sons. That book sucks. Reverse psychology. So I wrote Choice and Triumph years ago. It was my first book, and it was sort of my life. You know, a lot of the dad story was in there, and you know, my books have always been focused on like self-development. You know, excuse me. These were my experiences. This is what I took from it. This is what I think you can take from it. And blah, blah, blah. So with this book, I really... And then the second book I wrote also sucked. So the first 3 books I did were just like, don't pay attention to those. The newer ones, yeah, I'm proud of them. The other ones, I was learning how to be an author and how to write books. So the second book was kind of like a piggyback onto the first. So I was like, I should combine those and just make one book. And it was like, no, I just need to rewrite that story. I just need to redo it. I'm a better writer at this point. And I was actually, this book, Dads Kiss Your Sons, it wasn't called Dads Kiss Your Sons. It was originally called Chapter 7 because I wanted to talk about my life, do that all again, but do it better. And then explain how I went to California chasing, my dream to live in California, and I did all that. But then I went bankrupt, and I filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy, but it was also my 7th book. So there was like, kind of a play on words with the title, but it never, I don't know, it just never, I had that title for probably 2, maybe 3 years, and I just never was inspired to write it. I kind of had the story in my head. I knew what it was going to be. I knew how I was going to write it, and there was just never a spark to like get it going. And at the time I had just, met Aaron. We were starting, a new life together, and then we got pregnant. So, then it was just dad, become a dad and focus on that. And that was my only focus, And it wasn't until somebody commented on like a Facebook post, or no, my friend wrote something and I commented, because it was something about men being intimate with not intimate, but like men showing intimacy and vulnerability by like loving their children and physical touch, that type of thing. And I wrote Dads Kiss Your Sons, and I was like, oh, that's the title of the book. It's not called Chapter 7, it's called Dads Kiss Your Sons. And as soon as I got the title, the book came right out. So for me, what it meant was, it's addressing sort of that, what's that called? Masculine toxicity. Is that the word? What I'm looking for?
Yeah, toxic masculinity.
Toxic, yeah, there it is.
Right.
I mixed it up. Toxic masculinity. And just, yes, men should kiss their children, and especially their sons. It's kind of easy, like, oh, daddy's little girl, and like kissing your daughter, and stuff like that. But like, for men to kiss their sons, like, there's all kinds of like, there was like that Tom Brady, thing that came out when his like 11-year-old kissed him, and it was like, was that kiss too long? Blah blah blah. People, internet just, and whatever. I'm not here to discuss was that kiss too long with his 11-year-old. I don't have an 11-year-old. I have a 3-year-old. So, I don't know what a long kiss is for an 11-year-old, because I don't have an 11-year-old, so I can't comment on it. But other people want to comment on stuff that they don't have an experience with. That's the problem with politics. And sports. I mean, you see someone just sitting on the couch being like, you idiots, I wouldn't have done that, watching the Super Bowl. But sorry, I go on tangents. I went on a tangent there. But oh yeah, just really, even Biden kissing his like son or something. Like, there's so many things out there where it's like, essentially like men shouldn't kiss their sons, and I don't know, that's bullshit. Like, the moment that baby was in my hands, I have kissed him relentlessly, like just on the cheeks, just not nonstop. And I mean, people could come out and be like, say whatever. I don't know. It's just love. It's just a way of expressing love. And I think it's really important. And actually, I show a lot of this, and I back a lot of this up with heavy science in the book of the importance of physical touch. The importance of speaking, absolutely speaking words of life and encouragement over our children are incredibly important. Just as important is holding them, hugging them, kissing them, letting them truly feel I'm safe. And there's all kinds of stuff going on in that, especially early developmental period, while their brains are developing. Their brain develops 90% from like birth to about 2.5. And what's developing mostly is the parts of the brain that are responsible for emotions. And are they secure? Do they feel safe? Their coping mechanisms with stressful environmental stimuli, both outside and inside. And when you're holding them, that releases like the actual physical touch, kissing them, holding them, and hugging them. That is releasing neurotransmitters like oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, all the feel-good neurotransmitters that are allowing them to feel calm, to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel unafraid, to not feel fear. And it's decreasing, so it's increasing those neurotransmitters, but it's decreasing cortisol, stress hormones, things like that cause high blood pressure, things that cause anxiety. It's lowering all that stuff. So there's true science, actual science behind, doing those things. And I mean, personally, it's hard for me just not to kiss Kai. I just love that little dude so much. So You know, how can I not kiss his little cute little face?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think for sure, definitely, I think physical touch is important. Like, I'm that dude who makes it weird even with his buddies, you know, like, I'll see my friends at church and I'll grab a hold and give him a big kiss on his bald head, you know what I mean? I don't care, you know what I mean? I'm like...
I love you. Yes. If we meet in person, I'm definitely kissing you.
Yeah, not on the lips, though.
No, not on the lips. Not on the lips.
That's just, like, you know, like, I think affection is something that doesn't have to be weird, you know? Yeah. Like, I think people have made it weird when it doesn't have to be weird. Now, absolutely. Obviously, there's lines, and you don't want to cross the lines with somebody that's uncomfortable with it. Yeah, sure. You know, it's like, you know, I think when my boys started to get to be, you know, teenagers in particular, they didn't want the kiss so much. You know what I mean? So I might give it a little bit, but I you know, I'm not going to go, you know, you want to allow them to have the boundaries they need to have. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Dad, I don't want to kiss right now. Okay. But I'm still going to hug you.
Yeah,
you know, exactly. I'm still going to pat you on the head. Yeah. I think that affection is something that kids need and really everybody needs. You know, like, I don't care who you are. Like, you know, you need that affection from a friend or a family member. Like, you need that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally agree on boundaries too. You know, like, not because you don't want it to become the norm of, like, forcing yourself. Like, oh, it's normal for people to physically force themselves on me because my dad does it all the time. You know, so yeah, it's understanding that stuff too. And you know, Kai, I mean, even he's 3, and, like, even out, like, did I have a kiss? And sometimes he doesn't. You know, a lot of times he does. He's, you know, he's really, like, super affectionate, and he'll just come up to me and hug me and, you know, cuddle up with me, and I love that I'm building that in him too. You know, just this little dude, as soon as he wakes up in the morning, like, we'll, like, just lay in bed for, like, a half hour, you know, and we'll just kind of lay there, and he's just content, just kind of hanging out, and, you know, I don't know.
You talked earlier about, like, wrestling and roughhousing. I think that's something else, especially little boys need. I think little girls need it to a degree too. Actually, my girls love to wrestle and fight. Yeah. You know, and get horsey back rides on their dad when they were little. But you know, boys especially though, I think that roughhousing it helps them to learn their strength, but also you learn a little bit of respect that way too. You know what I mean? When your dad.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, my dad could crush my skull. Yeah. He's not going to because he loves me, but he could.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, Kai, like, sometimes, like, yesterday, like, I was just sitting on the couch, and that dude just, like, immediately chose violence. Like, he just came over and, like, attacked. Like, what are you doing? You know? And, but yeah, you throw him a couple times, he's like, okay, I've been checked. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, if you don't mind, I don't want to get, you know, too personal on like the divorce side of things, but I do know that a lot of our listeners have gone through that process along with you, and I know a lot of guys who are like, hey man, like, my marriage is over, I don't know what to do. And it's a question I get a lot.
Yeah.
I thought maybe just as somebody who's been through that, how did you recover from that hurt?
God, 100%. And I'm still recovering. I don't know if you ever fully recover. It's always going to be a painful part of your life that you look at, and there's always going to be scar tissue there. But without question, I mean, this last year was the hardest year of my life. It was the absolute hardest year of my life, and there's still a lot of stuff that I pray about every single day. But number one is having a relationship with God, for sure. Because without Him, I would 100% have had a full-on mental breakdown, and I would not be sitting here even being able to talk with some of the stuff I went through this last year. There's no question. You know, just the hardest thing I ever dealt with, for sure. Because, especially when you have children involved, you know. So, you know, really having that relationship with God, and then, you know, having a therapist. I was in therapy. I just kicked back to once a week. I was in therapy twice a week, you know, just really processing everything and making sure, you know, I'm not yet at the place to talk too much about the details of the story and, like, what went on. But I can say that there has been a lot of court hearings, and there was a lot of, and that, I mean, that in and of itself is some of the most stressful stuff you can ever experience. You know, one thing that I did take from that aspect of it is, you know, and take this for what it's worth, but if you're the type of person, if you find yourself in a situation that you have to do the court thing, and you don't have $50,000 or whatever just laying around to pay these insane lawyer fees that are just pathetic, if you know you're on the side of truth, if you're the one telling, you gotta be honest with yourself. Like, if you're the one telling the truth, if you're, you know, if you're not the one that did crazy stuff, and if you are the one that did crazy stuff, get a lawyer. But if you know, if you're on the side of truth, and you can speak calmly, you know, to judges and in these, you know, arenas and in these places, if you can speak calmly, intelligently about what is going on, while always maintaining the child first, because that's what it's about. It's always about your little one first. If you can do that, you know, it's, a lot of people might disagree with this, but I feel like I made more of a mistake in having a lawyer than when I started representing myself at the end, and I feel like I had a much better experience in representing myself. Because again, you know, and I'm not trying to allude to anything, I'm just saying, if you know that what you're saying is the truth, and that's not to say the other person isn't saying the truth as well, but if you're the type of person that you're comfortable with the truth, you're talking about the truth, and you can speak, again, in these places, you know, calmly and intelligently about what happened, I think that's going to take you a lot further. Because the thing is, no lawyer, no person is going to fight for your child or care about your child in the situation than you. No one's going to care as much as you, no matter how much you pay them, period. You know, so if you can maintain those things, you know, I think, you know, if people are out there potentially about to walk into something like that, be honest with yourself. If you're on the side of truth, like I said, you know, I think self-representation is a very powerful thing that people should consider doing. And it obviously takes more pressure and more stress off of you, because you, along with the stress of dealing with an extremely stressful situation, now you have a severe financial burden on top of it that you just probably didn't need, you know. But the emotional side of it, my voice just cracked, but the emotional side of it, you just have to let yourself feel it all. You know, it's gonna ebb and flow. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have really, really bad days. But that's where God comes in, that's where therapy comes in, and, you know, really seeking help. Like, don't try to face this on your own. Don't try to, you know, and therapy's hard. Like, you don't always feel like talking about this shit. You don't always feel like, you know, revisiting it, because maybe your therapy's scheduled and you're actually feeling pretty good today. So it's like, I don't really want to go back into that. Still stick with it, you know. So I don't think there's no, like, this is how you do it. You know, this is how you get through the worst thing, one of the worst things you will likely ever go through in your life. But what will really help you is a relationship with God and therapy, honestly, you know, and just always doing everything you can to make sure that little one is first and foremost. It doesn't, whatever's going on between you and your significant other, that doesn't matter at all when it comes to the little one. Okay, it doesn't matter what they think of you, what they believe about you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That they're important. Your child is what's important. How you feel about the other person, no matter what they did, your child is important. That's the number one. Period. You know, so it takes a lot of maturity to do that, and it takes a lot of self-restraint, and it takes a lot of prayer. and you're not going to always succeed. You got to give yourself grace. You got to give yourself grace. You're not going to always be the person. Sadly, you won't always be who you want your child to see you as. Sometimes you're going to fall. Sometimes you're going to lose your temper. I'm sure you experience that as a dad. Everybody does. You know, I've yelled at Kai and then apologized to him later in the night. I'm like, I'm sorry I yelled at you. You know, I was frustrated and I yelled at you, I should yell at you at that moment. You know, I mean, it's not every day. Like if you're doing, you know, you got to recognize if you really got something going on, but you'll fall short. Give yourself some grace.
You talked about therapy, how you don't always want to do it, especially when it's going good. I actually think that's when therapy is actually the most important, is because that's when you're actually sane enough, right, to actually do the work.
Yeah, exactly. And you can look at things clearer, you know, your emotions aren't, you know, fogging everything up. So,
I mean, if you translate that to physical health, right? Like, let's say you've got a health problem, you know, and maybe you get a heart problem. Well, the answer to the heart problem is for your heart to get more healthy, so you need to do more cardio, right? But that's really hard to do when you have the heart problem. But when you don't, when the heart is doing well, that's the time to do the work so that your heart is healthy for that time.
Right.
So,
and that's a perfect, you know, parallel is like I never feel like working out ever. I never want to go to the gym ever. I never do. I appreciate those who do. Those who are like, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow and do my gym routine. I'm like, I think you're insane. I hate it, but I do it every day. And that's the secret to being successful in anything. Is like you always do stuff when you don't feel like doing it. Because like if I really just did what I felt like doing most of the time, like your emotions are kind of crazy. I'd probably just sit and eat pizza all day. I would just not do. I would just sit and eat pizza. Like that's it. That's what I want to do. You know, but
would there be pineapple on the pizza though?
I can get down with that.
Okay, just wondering.
I don't discriminate with pizza. Did you say no pineapple or pineapple on it?
I'm good with pineapple.
I can handle pineapple for sure. But yeah, it definitely comes down to that, like doing what you don't feel like doing. So therapy is no different. Like chances are you're not going to feel like doing it. Do it. You know, do I feel like getting on the Stairmaster for 40 to 60 minutes, 5 to 6 times a week? No. Do not feel like it. Like, do it. Because I know I have to. You know?
And if you
I
don't...
feel like doing these dishes in the sink. No.
Right.
I feel like cooking dinner tonight. You know? But the guy's got to eat. I got to eat. You know? So... yeah, do what you don't feel like doing. You'll find a lot of success in your life.
I like that. Mark, I like to ask all my guests a few questions, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this. The first one is, what does it take to be a man?
What's it take to be a man? I think it's important to show up for people that need you, especially when you don't feel like showing up for people that need you. Being a man is, you know, it boils down to doing what you know you need to do at all times, and especially when you don't feel like doing it, but you do it anyway, you know? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could really dig into that. Well, you definitely can. I guess it's kind of a hard question to answer. What do other people say?
I get all kinds of answers. I get all kinds of answers to that question because I think there is different aspects. Like, it's not as simple as just your biology, you know? That's my opinion on it. I mean, I do think your biology is essential, and I know other people don't see it that way. I do think it matters. Yeah. But it's also, like, there's a difference between a grown boy, right, and a man, you know? Yeah. And I think that we all kind of... that's the reason I ask that question to all of my guests, because I like seeing that, all right, from where I'm sitting, this is what I see in a man. Yeah, and so I think you had a really good response to that, which was he does what needs to be done, whether he wants to or whether he feels like it or not. That's a great answer to that question.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think about it in, like, the gender aspect. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody likes to argue about all that, and I'm like, you can argue about it. I don't care.
I heard one, because I was getting, I'm going to be honest, I was getting really confused with, like, gender, sex, other stuff. I did hear somebody from the LGBTQI plus community say, sex is what's between your legs, gender is what's between your ears. And I was like, I get that. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying there. I understood the definition, finally. Do you know what I mean?
Or their definition, finally.
Or their definition.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can understand it and appreciate. Yeah, I can appreciate that what you're saying makes sense. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but I also don't hate you because you feel that way.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's. I think if just more people could just say, like, I'm this way. Is that cool with you? And you're like, no, but, like, cool for you. Let's hug it out. Like,
right.
Right?
Like, I can appreciate you as a person and think you're wrong.
Yeah.
And you can appreciate me as a person and think I'm wrong. And at the end of the day, does it matter?
No, just, I don't know, man. Like that, life is, like, way too hard. Like, by itself. Like, I don't need to assist it. And I don't need to assist it to make your life more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your life is just as hard as the life I'm experiencing. Like, how about we help each other and try to, like, love on each other and accept each other a little more? Because, like, life's kicking the shit out of every one of us.
And you don't answer to me and I don't answer to you. Like,
right.
Like, why do we feel like we have to answer, that people have to answer to what we believe or what we feel? Like,
yeah.
Do you, man? You don't answer to me. I think you answer to God. I think I answer to God. And if I get up to heaven at the end of things and I found that I was wrong about something, okay, well, that's what grace is for. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
And in the meantime, I try to have that open heart that says, God, if I'm wrong, I need you to show me now. you know?
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, like you said, that's why grace is there, and that's why the cross is there too, because I'm not going to get it right. I'm going to get some things right. I'm definitely not getting all things right.
Right. And as smart as I like to think I am, I know nothing. I only know what I can know, Yeah.
So, yeah. I it's incredible. Like, when you start thinking about how much you don't know, that's what's really incredible. I'm like, well, I don't know so much stuff.
Mark, if you were to be able to transport back in time to visit 10-year-old Mark, so I'm going to say that's what, like mid-90s, early 90s?
10-year-old, yeah. 80,
yeah.
95.
95. Okay, so 10-year-old Mark in 1995. So he is jamming out to Pearl Jam, right?
He was usually jamming out to Korn.
Okay, there we go. So he's jamming out to Korn. What are you going to tell 10-year-old Mark?
I love you. You're valued. You're strong. You're safe. You're secure. I would say to him the affirmations that I say over Kai every single night. And I'll say it now. I say this to Kai every single night. I wrote it in my book. I say, you're strong, you're safe, you're secure, you're brave, you're blessed, and highly favored. You're covered in the blood of Jesus, you're healthy, you're kind, and you're so, so loved. You were born into abundance, you were born into blessing, you are abundant, and you are a blessing. And Mommy and Daddy love you so, so much. I love you, I love you, I love you. And then I would give myself a very big hug and a kiss.
I like that a lot, man. That's awesome. All right, now
that's definitely one of the better answers for that one.
That was an excellent answer for that one. Yeah, that was definitely.
So if somebody asked you down the road, "Hey, what's somebody else answer?" You'd be like, "Mark had a good one for this."
He did. That's going to be a short that's going to run on TikTok all day long. So, let's say, what is your best advice for the men that are listening today?
The best advice for who?
For the men that are listening today.
For the men that are listening. You don't have anything to prove to anybody. Like what you like, don't like what you don't like. I have big shoulders, I'm 6 foot, half black, and I know nothing about sports. At all. Nothing. And I have no interest in sports. And I don't care about sports. And I'm from Pittsburgh. When I lived in California, people were like, what? You know, I don't care. You know what I love? I love sitting in a cafe, drinking coffee, reading books. That's what I love. I love classical music. I like musicals even. But I also love Cradle of Filth and like some pretty much satanic heavy metal. I don't like Satan, but there's some heavy metal bands that I listen to and I'm like, yeah, they're fully Satan, but like, I don't know. They have a good vibe. I like the music. So, like what you like, don't like what you don't like. And, you know, for the men that are new dads or about to be first-time dads or even about to be dads and haven't been a dad for maybe a long time, you have got this. Please, please sit through any of the discomfort you're feeling and wait to get to the other side. I promise you what's waiting for you there is nothing short of magical. Period. Dads, kiss your sons.
Awesome. So if guys want to connect with your book, want to connect with you, what's the best way for that to happen?
Yeah, Instagram. That's at Dads Kiss Your Sons. There's no comma. There's nothing. Just at Dads Kiss Your Sons or dadskissyoursons.com. And the book is everywhere. It's on Amazon, Kindle, ebooks, hardcover, paperback. It became a #1 bestseller on Amazon this last year, which was super exciting. The book is really, it sounds like a manual for dads, but it's really not. I've had a lot of women really connect with the story because that's what it is. It's my story into fatherhood. So there's just a lot of stuff in there just to help you as a human. Obviously the theme is for dads and new dads and soon to be dads, but anybody can get some good stuff from the book. And I'm not saying that egotistically, I'm just saying that's my gift. That's what God gave me. And I'm really proud of the message in it. So I really hope everybody gets a chance to check it out. And if you do, leave me a review on Amazon. That helps.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link it in the show notes as well. Mark, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and our listeners today, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. This was awesome. Really appreciate it.
Mark, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being a real guy with real thoughts and who's willing to be open and honest. And yeah, you're the real deal, man. I'm looking forward to getting in touch with you and having a hamburger or something, man. For the rest of you guys that are listening, I appreciate you too. I appreciate that you guys are a part of things. Remember, guys, if you want to sponsor Manlihood, get in touch with me because we're looking for sponsors for Season 8, which will be launching in the fall. Guys, as always, please join the Manlihood Man Cave on Facebook. You can be a part of an opportunity to be a part of a community there that's going to help you grow, and you're going to be able to level up with other guys who are there. They have your back. They want to encourage you. That's what this is all about. So let's do that together. Also, if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend. If you leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, we'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like the video if you're watching it on YouTube. Let's get the word out about what's happening here at Manlihood. As always, guys, I love you. I'm proud of you. And I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Manlihood ManCast. If you want to be a better husband, father, leader, a better man, you need to join our private Facebook group, the Manlihood Man Cave. Join today. Please help us out with a like, comment, share, and subscribe. And check us out at manlihood.com.